And ideally, we would like to see you all also. If you can switch on your cameras. I know it's a weekend, so but it's fine. This is a very safe
Yeah.
space, relaxed space. So don't bother if you have a bed head or how you're dressed. So fine. Just would like to see your beautiful faces as well.
All right. So what is this quick warm-up activity? So what we are going to do is we are going to shake up the lazy bones a bit, and then also warm up your mental muscle. Saturday morning, everybody is a little bit out of the bed, not fully into the day yet. So this might just warm you up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present you a quick pick each time, and there is a quick puzzle to solve. So let's get started. Yeah, this is the first one.
First aid.
Very nice. Let's go for the next one.
Who was that?
Standing ovation.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Forget me.
Forget me.
Living under the sea. Seas.
Quite close.
Living
What
below
is it?
seas.
Living overseas? Living overseas, maybe?
Living
I don't know.
overseas. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Living overseas. Very good.
Time to go.
Not yet.
Only
We still have an hour to go.
And,
The Undertaker.
the Undertaker.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
All hands on the deck.
Excellent.
Killing it.
10 gate. 10 close. 10. No.
It's entertain.
Entertain. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mm.
More often than not.
Excellent.
Amazing. Yeah.
Drink too many.
One
Close.
drink too many.
Close. One
One
drink too
drink too
many.
many. Sorry. Yeah. More than it meets the eye.
More to it than meets the eyes.
Excellent.
More it-
Excellent. More to it
more
than
to it
meets
than
the
it meets the eye. Okay. Boredom.
Good attempt.
No.
Not the correct answer.
Freedom. Zero done. Boredom.
Flip it.
Two more.
Mhm.
There is a hint. It's a brand of a certain type of food.
Boredom. Domo. What?
All right.
Kids love it.
Domino.
Yes.
Yes, domino. Great. I think that was a little warm up. We thought will wake you up. Now to the more serious stuff. Yeah. So personal branding for working professionals, the career edge you cannot ignore. So this is what we thought we will discuss as part of today's session. Yeah. Now I'll just quickly introduce my co-presenter, Sanjukta Ghosh. She's a ICF certified executive and workplace wellness coach. She's a seasoned HR professional, having worked with L&T and GEMS as companies, active Toastmaster in Dubai, corporate trainer, facilitator, and a speaker at multiple institutes of eminence. And of course, she's an MBA from 𝐸𝐴. So,
Thank you.
Sanjukta,
Thank you for introducing me, Satyajit. And to introduce Satyajit to you all, he's had over 20 years of experience in many organizations of repute like Deloitte, KPMG, Accenture, Novartis, and so on. And more than that, he's also a best-selling author, having written multiple books. Now, one thing that's not mentioned here, but I would like to mention is he's had the honor and the privilege to present one of his books recently to the President of India.
oh,
And I think that's amazing. Uh, He's also a TEDx speaker and a leadership presence coach. And besides that, he's also a very regular visiting faculty to many B schools. And he's done workshops at IIM's Accelerize, having done his own MBA from IIM Lucknow. So we hope, I'm happy to see some of you all on camera and would really love to see more faces to make this a very interactive and engaging workshop, because only when we discuss and exchange ideas, we are going to make some meaning out of it. So thank you to all who have switched on. With this, I hand over to you, Satyajit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think with the introduction, right? So this was about us, but what about you? So we looked at the registrations, right? And it is a very interesting cohort that we have today. So we have people who are working professionals, who are entrepreneurs. We have quite a few representation from the coaching training community. Then there are some academic professionals. I see some professors also joining this particular session. That's very interesting. Then there are few people who are freshers, who are just into their first jobs. And of course, there are some students as well, some working executives, doing working EMBA programs, things like that. So it's a very interesting mix today. And one of the strengths of a mix is that the viewpoint is very diverse when it comes to a subject as wide as personal branding. Yeah. So I'm very excited and looking forward to a very engaging session. And that's what it is. And let's come up with more ideas as we go on with this session. Yeah. Now, let's start this, right? Quick question. What or who comes to your mind when we just say the word personal brand? Yeah. Any
I
responses?
would say that
Amitabh
I
Bachchan.
would say
Modi
Nice.
ji.
Modi ji, Amitabh Bachchan. Yes. Who else? Or what else? Any brand elements that you can think of?
Apple.
Indira Nui.
Indira Nooyi. Excellent. Excellent. What else?
Ratan Tata. Ratan Tata.
Ratan Tata.
Tata.
Yes. So these are all the who's of the world, right? When we talk about personal brand and we talk about who, probably the names like this come. Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, Shah Rukh Khan, Rajnikant, the list is endless. We can think of these kinds of names. But what kind of things associated with personal brand does come to your mind? So when I say personal brand per se, what thoughts come to your mind? For example, does reputation come to your mind as a word? Yeah.
Let's use
yes.
the emojis.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I cannot see the emojis.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
saw
Yeah,
So
someone
that's-
putting here.
Yeah,
So
certainly.
yeah, reputation. What else? Visibility. Being known for
Sometimes what they
someone.
stand for.
Absolutely. What they're with the stand for. What else? What else do you think personal brand would encompass?
I think trust comes to mind. Where
Trust,
yeah, the
authenticity, right? So
authenticity.
frankly, anything and everything that we connect with leadership, these are the words that come to your mind when we talk about personal brand, right? Very interestingly, most of us, when we look at personal brand, right, we sort of think that personal brand is something which is reserved for actors, politicians, business leaders, authors, singers, celebrities, right? And when we had that quick Q&A at the start of this session, most of us also pointed out to people who have those kinds of aura, that kind of presence. Amitabh Bachchan, Rajnikant, these kinds of people we are talking about. So it's not uncommon to see and associate personal brand with people who are celebrities, entrepreneurs, politicians, authors, so on and so forth, right? But the question is, is personal brand only reserved for this category of people? Can a working professional have a personal brand? That's the question. What do you think?
Can and
Let's say
should.
can and should. Yes. So you are a working professional, you're working and you need to have a personal brand, right? But then what is this personal brand and what should it look like? What could be the different elements? Yeah, difficult to think. Of course, it is difficult. That's why personal brand for working professionals is not very widely discussed topic. Most people discuss the associated elements around it, like networking, executive presence, leadership presence, but not personal brand per se. Yeah, because that's something, the belief of most people is something that we keep reserved for celebrities, actors, personalities, so on and so forth. So in this session today, what we are trying to do is we are trying to explore the concept. When I say explore, right, we are going to explore this together with you because you all bring a wealth of information. You have your own experiences. You have your own encounters, your own judgments, right? And that's what we want you to bring together so that we jointly explore this concept of personal brand and really build something out for each one of us. Yeah. So
Oh,
before we even proceed, right? So we need to look at personal brand and dissect it. This is where Sanjukta, really can bring some light on it. Yes, Sanjukta.
yeah. So when Satyajit asked about personal brand, who do you relate to? Some beliefs, I could make out some beliefs were there that personal branding is related to politicians, movie stars. So that's one of the beliefs that came up in the discussion here. But I'm curious to know here, what other beliefs might you hold about your personal brand?
I feel the personal branding is not an one-time elevator pitch that you do. It's
Mhm.
how you carry yourself into the organization, into the eyes of the senior leaders, so that you pitch in and you come on top of the mind for them, and also along with your subordinates, so that they value how much, not only what you speak and how you speak it, so that it navigates various situations and making sure that we do the right thing in terms of the body reactions and the way you speak. I don't know. I'm just coming out from the top of my head.
No, I think
That's
this
good.
is very relevant. I think what probably you're summing up is it's not a milestone, it's a ongoing journey.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it will
And
be,
what I saw,
it's very simple word. It will be like that one thing that when people see you, that one thing that they think of. It could be trust, it could be authenticity, it could be the way you carry yourself. It could be that one thing people associate with you.
Hmm.
yeah, that's a good perspective, Sati. And I see Tulika's also raised her hand. Yes, Tulika,
Yeah, thank you
what
so much,
belief?
Sanjukta. I believe that personal branding is very personal, and it is you who can actually be able to understand what you stand for. And many a times, that's a reason when the other people handles the PR, it doesn't represent the right persona or the right brand of yours. So I do feel that it's very personal, and you should have a full understanding of what you are and what you stand for, and accordingly, you should present it.
That's also wonderful, Tulika. Thanks for sharing. When you say what you stand for, what's come to me is what beliefs do you hold for, what principles do you embody, which others also see in you. So thank you for sharing that. And I see Shirley also has raised her hand. Yes, Shirley would love to hear.
Hey, hi, Shali this side. I know most of us must be already in the journey of preparing for personal brand, but what I face consistently is that people expect us to be more consistent when it comes to building a brand for ourselves. The look and feel, the content, the communication, a lot of it to be very standard and very driven towards something. And that becomes a challenge when we are juggling a lot of things, especially women, when we are focused on family and career.
Mm.
So that's my observation. It's still so tough to get that consistency across every time people see you, meet you, talk to you.
That's good. How do we bring that consistency? And we'll look at that also later towards the session. Then we have
I
Anshuman. Anshuman has raised his hand.
sorry.
Yeah, who's this? I can't make
This is
out.
𝐤𝐞𝐫𝐬𝐧𝐚𝐥.
Ah,
So I would like to add a word about this. So regarding the personal branding. So I feel like, personally feel like building a confidence in front of everyone, like wherever we go, the confidence which I'm holding it, I feel like that is the personal branding. So it is not easy to speak in a forum or to present ourselves in our senior leadership, but the confidence which I hold will really helps to build what I am.
thank you for bringing this. I really love when you say that it's not easy to speak in front of leadership, but it's the confidence that I hold. And probably we can take up this example later to explore more in depth how it adds to your personal branding. Yes, who would
Right.
like to go next? Anshuman?
Yes, I believe if we establish ourselves as credible or trustworthy individuals, then we can maximize or optimize whatever we are currently doing or aspiring or trying to accomplish. So that is my take on personal brand.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I think what we are trying to elude here is most of us, right, understand personal brand in some shape and form. Yeah. But there are certain concepts or conceptions. I won't even call that misconceptions. They're conceptions that we have, which prevents us from doing it, right? So, Sanjukta, would you just walk through those questions here
Yes,
and maybe we can look at
move
that.
on. Hmm.
Yeah. So I'll just go one by one.
So we have seen most people believe that good work alone will automatically get recognition. And among the many people I coach, they feel I'm already doing such good work. I don't need to focus on personal branding separately. My work should speak for itself. Satyajit, can you please move on to the next point? So, and they feel that the bosses are responsible to notice if you're doing good work, it should automatically get noticed. That's my personal brand. But that's a myth. There's another one that I have come across, that is, I am a very shy person, introverted person. So I'm not, personal branding is not for me, and I don't know how I can build it. Because to build a personal brand, it seems you need to have an extroverted personality. So that's another myth that is there. And the further myth is that personal branding is restricted only to your LinkedIn presence. We put some, thoughts on LinkedIn, established thought leadership and all, and that's our branding. And as we also saw at the beginning, that personal branding is largely restricted to politicians, influencers, and maybe lifestyle people who are in the lifestyle segment. That's our thought that, okay, personal branding is for them more than for working professionals. But what is important to note here is that while we are talking of personal branding, it is not something that is seen externally. It is not built outside in, but it is what built inside out. And I'll give you a small example here. Let's take a commodity, because when we talk of shoes, there are multiple shoes in the market, and but Nike, we know Nike as a big brand here. But did they establish themselves as a shoe, or did they establish themselves through something inspirational? So when they came up through with the quote, "Just do it," they connected with people emotionally, and they build it from inside out. The desire to buy some brand, or to the desire to connect with the person, comes in from the inside out and not from the outside in. So same way, when we are building our personal brand at work also, the work should be done from inside out and not outside in. And we'll go more in depth in this further ahead. So here we'll look at these different levels of personal branding. The first is the environment within which you operate. Second is the behavior. Then more than that, higher than that, we have the capabilities. And at the top, we have the values and beliefs. And at the apex, we have our own identity. This is what helps to build our own brand. So when we look at environment, it is basically the context in which we are operating, and it's mostly guided by all our senses, what we see, what we hear, what we feel. And in our work environment, what is the culture that I am part of? What feelings does it evoke for me? Where do I naturally show up more? Am I working from home? Am I working online, or do I have a physical office to go to? So all these things make up your environment. Also, the question to ask here is my environment supporting me in my growth, or is it hampering my growth? So when we are looking at environment from that lens, then these are the questions and the things that come up. And the environment, more above the environment, we have the behavior, which is what do we do? What actions do we take? How do I show up in discussions? I think Satya, was that you who said that in meetings I may not speak up more. So that is a behavior that we are talking of at the behavior level. So the environment is the meeting room, which is full of leaders, and the behavior is I am not speaking up. So, where are you holding back? And what actions are you taking or not taking that's supporting you or hampering your growth? This behavior is affected by the capabilities, which is the how of it. What are my strengths? So, again, to take that example of speaking up in the meetings where leaders are present, am I a good orator? Am I able to present my thoughts clearly and crisply? So that will become part of my capabilities, the knowledge, the skills, and uh, maybe there are some skills you are underutilizing, and maybe you have some good skills. So this is all the how of it. Now, what drives our capabilities is our values and beliefs. Again, Satya, I think you mentioned about the mindset. So, what is the belief that you are holding? Is it that maybe I should not speak in front of the leaders, otherwise they will think that I am over smart employee or I am trying to interfere? What values do you hold? Do you really feel that your ideas will hold a meaning in the conversation there? So this is all about the why of it, which drives your capabilities and your behavior and how you operate in that environment. But very interesting to note is what guides everything is the identity. What is the identity that you hold about yourself? Who are you? How do you see yourself? And how do others see you? What role do you naturally play? So, in this case, when we are talking of the meeting thing, do you feel that you are not worthy of presenting your ideas? You're just a worker. So, what is the identity you hold, and is it helping you in your career growth, or is it hampering you? So, these are the different questions that we need to ask ourselves. Where are we operating? What behavior are we doing? How are we behaving? Why are we behaving like that, which is guided by our values and beliefs? And who are we at our core? I'll give you an example here from one of the recent cases that I had handled. So there was this employee, and let's call her Aisha just for anonymity's sake. Aisha is a middle level manager, and she told me I'm a very shy person, but I'm a very good worker. And Aisha works in a tech company, so she has this added advantage of the flexibility, work from home, all that comes with being in a tech company. And she said, even though I'm working from home, but I make sure I give 10 hours every day, probably more than what my counterparts are giving. And while I'm working from home, I'm not distracted. And the work that I do brings results. I have turned around brands, and I have turned around projects, like things which were running at loss. I've made them grow, all with my effort. And I believe my work should speak for itself. So, do you see how all these things are interwoven in what she's saying? She's working from home. She's shy. So, her behavior is she's not going out and talking about herself. And she said, I don't like to blow my own trumpet. My work should speak for itself. So, her belief is guiding her behavior. She doesn't go and project herself or present herself because she believes that her work should speak for itself, even though she is highly capable. So when I asked her, who are you? Aisha, who are you? She said, I'm like And I think most of us would follow cricket here. So I'll share this, what she said. She said, I am like that Rahul Dravid, the consistent and the dependable batsman and the team member who is always getting results. Team members can always depend on me. I was like, wow. So Rahul Dravid is a brand, but is it helping you or is it hampering you? She said, no, I'm not growing. I have missed out on promotions. There are 2 promotions that I've missed out on because I don't know why. And I said, yeah, let's deep dive into it. Who would you rather be if you're not Rahul Dravid? Then who would you rather be? She said, I want to be Sanjukta. I want to be Dhoni. I want to be like Dhoni. And I'm sure many of you relate to the other personality of Dhoni, which is charismatic, go-getter, decision maker, gets the team together. People are rooting for him. People want to connect with Dhoni. There's nothing wrong with Rahul Dravid as a brand, but do you see the stark difference? And as I heard, I got goose pimples. I was like, wow, you want to be Dhoni? So what do you think Dhoni does? What do you need to do to be like Dhoni? She said, I want to be a decision maker. I want to be a go getter, and people should come to me. And for that, I think I have been turning down networking lunches because they go on for 1 or 2 hours. I don't have that much time to spend for networking lunches, Sanjukta, because I would rather spend that 2 hours doing my work and being more productive. So you see, one hand, she is balancing productivity. In the other side, there is networking. But in the quest for being more productive, she's losing out on her visibility. So her behavior is determined by her identity and her belief. Now, this thing is always going from top to down. When we change our identity, our beliefs will change. And with that, the capability, behavior, and environment. So, what Aisha did next, her mindset changed. I think we discussed here also that the mindset has to change. She learned to be more confident in meetings. She learned to go change her environment. Also, she balanced working from home more with going to the office. She spoke up more in meetings, and even when she came across different challenges at work. But she said, I'm a problem fixer. I don't have to go and tell everyone or complain that I have n number of problems and I need help. No, I will solve it by myself. But now what she did was while she solved the problems, she used the networking meetings also as an opportunity to share that how she managed to overcome these things and maybe get some more inputs from her seniors on what could have been done better. So her seniors also knew that, okay, this is what Aisha is working on, this is her approach, and maybe she can do this better. So she is not actually, when we say we don't like blowing our own trumpet, it gives a very negative connotation. But in this subtle way, she was making herself visible without feeling that icky feeling of promoting her own self. And there was a very, very drastic shift in her whole persona, in her whole identity and the way she was carrying herself. So you see how a small change in how we perceive ourselves can also help others to perceive us differently and change the whole thing approach to our personal branding at work. Now, but how do we shift this identity? And how easy or difficult it is, we'll see that in some time. So just to summarize what I have been talking about, if this person would have stayed within her own team, worked hard quietly, and not articulated her skills, her values were, of course, loyalty and career, and she believed that her work should speak for itself. If I confront my team, then I lose my flexibility or work from home. Or if I confront my team, then maybe they will not see me as a team player. So she had formed this whole identity about herself, that I'm a problem fixer. This is who I am. But once she went through the whole shift, then she became a strategic decision maker and a valued leader. While she still held the values of loyalty and career, she also realized that self-respect and resilience were equally important values for her. And she told me, my work deserves to be seen and I need to be heard more. And she could do it in a subtle way as well. And she knew she was a competent worker, so all she needed to do is intentionally showcase it and use it. And she started speaking up in meetings and Also, when people would approach her for additional work or something, she knew how to set up boundaries politely but firmly. So, with all these changes and equally changes in her environment, also, she created this different branding for herself at work. So, as I was mentioning, how do you shift your identity from one to the other? And this we can do with a personal branding metrics. Before we
Yeah.
go on to that, what do you think prevents people from working on their identity?
For me, it is strongly the
Most
values
of
and
us,
beliefs.
Okay.
I think like most of us are in a corporate culture where, identity is not kind of a deliverable or a requirement. So most of us kind of, not work on it because we are never told it's important. Um, that's how corporates work.
I think you were there somewhere. I can see that no one tells us that we have to work on it. Yes, Anshuman.
I believe most of us, we don't understand the power of personal branding, the benefits we can get when we establish, ourselves as something who is worthy. So maybe that lack of understanding is the real barrier to, the first step taking towards it.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I think we have another hand raised from Vardarajan and then from Bhavesh as well.
And Murli. Yeah.
Oh, Murli, yes.
The environment, does it provide psychological safety for the individual, so that he or she presents herself in a where she can contribute and add value despite the levels of the hierarchy he or she is working with. So I think that could be a very important lever.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, Bhavesh.
Yeah, hi. I think it's psychological friction, right? And also an unclear payoff. Most people, right, they operate on job titles or company brands and external validation. So because of which, the identity becomes borrowed. It's not built. And also, I think there is also a fear of, being wrong, right? What if I, commit to the wrong thing? That also
The
kind of
belief.
stops
Right,
people.
right. Yes,
Who
Murli.
has it then?
Psychologically, I
Murli.
think it's one of the main reasons. I mean, they don't know what they get if they practice. The payoff is something unclear to them, right?
Yeah. Yes, Murli.
Murli.
Yeah, I agree with this point, saying that I really don't know whether what is going to be coming out. And second thing, I think it also stems from the point saying that is it worth an investment which needs to be done for getting a brand or say title or whatever. So I would like to get it easy. Why should I slog so much? That is my point of view.
Dinesh, you have a point?
Yep. Hi everyone. These are my thoughts. Might not be very correct or accurate. So what I believe is we all have a personal brand, although it may be in the smaller circle where we work in on a daily basis. Now, what is another criteria? We need to move out of that circle. We need to create visibility out of that our working circle. That also impacts the branding.
Right, right, absolutely. I think there is no right or wrong answer because it is always a process of figuring out and always a process of work in progress. So I think I'll give you my thoughts on this. So when we start our careers, right? Of course, we don't know many things. So that's the stage when we start exploring, right? And when we start exploring, the first thing that happens is the corporate or the world, right, gives us or hands out a ready to use identity framework. So if you're in corporate, they'll give you become a team lead, then you become a senior manager, then you become a, director. That's the kind of identity framework that is handed to us. And along with that, what also happens is you also get something called as a peer pressure. Everybody else is doing that certification. Let me do it, right? So in the process, right, we really don't get that time to pause and reflect and see whether we have the right alignment, whether there is an identity that needs to evolve for the greater career arc. And as a result of which, what happens is, as many of you had rightly put, right, it's not told. And trust me, it won't be told. It is a question of you pausing and reflecting and figuring out what is my personal brand. Some people do it exceedingly well. Most people don't, because they're chasing the next thing which is given to them in some shape and form. Yeah. And today we are trying to do that, and we are trying to push this, nudge this idea, and we are trying to build some alignment there. So on that note, right, let's look at the next segment where Sanjukta is going to talk about an extremely interesting alignment framework. Sanjukta, are you ready on that? Shall I just move to the next slide?
Yeah, but before that, I just want to address one more thing here. Something which Murli said, that, why do I need to work? And what I have also observed is many times people are so caught up in their operational roles and responsibilities that the whole thought of branding doesn't come to them, or maybe I don't have time or something. But what I want to say here is, if things are working for you and you're happy, it's fine. But if it's not working, then as Satyajit said, it's time to pause and reflect that what's working, what's not working, because how are people seeing me? And if that is not how I want to be seen, then I need to work on something. And that's what we are going to look at next. So here we have 4 quadrants. Basically, on one axis, we have the visibility, that is how others see me and how others don't see me. And the other is it aligned with what I want to be known for, or is it a misalignment happening there? So if we take the green zone, which is our strength zone, and that's how I want to be seen, and it's aligned with my identity. So in case of the example that I took, let's say that Aisha's example, she's a competent worker and she wants to be known for her competence and her good work, and others also know her for that. But what she needs to do here more is amplify that thing, leverage on her skills and capabilities and competence, and make it even more. It's already working for her. She has to work on it more to make it visible. But what others don't see here in Aisha's case is she's also a unique problem solver and innovator. She has extremely amazing creative problem solving skills, but people don't know that. So that's her hidden potential, which she knows she can do, but others don't know. Okay, she's fixing problems, but how is she doing it? That capability, others are not able to see it. So she has to make that visible there. Now, coming to the misaligned reputation, it is what you are known for, but you don't want it. For example, maybe in many companies, we are there, and naturally, people tend to come to us and vent that, so and so happened, or they'll just come for some venting sessions or help or something. So you are known as the universal friend in your workplace. Or maybe you are very good in Excel formatting, just for example, and everyone will come to you for that specific skill. But you're so good at it, please help me. Can you do it for me? But in the effort to be a good friend or a good team member, what's happening? You are giving away your prime energy. Your energy is getting depleted, and you are not able to do your own work. So you are ending up, falling back on your own responsibilities there. And what's the other effect that's coming as a result of that is you end up getting stressed. When work starts piling up because you're not able to draw your boundaries or you're not able to reposition yourself, you end up with feelings of stress and stagnation. And then, of course, there is the untapped zone, which is others don't know about it, or it's not working for you, and it's not relevant to your identity as well. For example, when we started off in our careers, many of us had some maybe tech skills, C++, or some other skills which we had, but it's not relevant to how we want to position ourselves today. So it's okay if others are not seeing it. Or maybe we are part of some committees in our workplace where it's not highly visible, and also Even if it's visible, it's not going to add to the identity that we want to build ourselves as a leader or as an innovator or as a change maker. So then just deprioritize that and don't waste too much of your time and energy doing those activities. So what we need to focus on is the green and the blue zone. Wherever it's not working for you, you have to reposition and you have to realign and deprioritize those things. Is this clear? Is there any questions anyone wants to ask around this? Otherwise,
Sanjukta,
we'll, yeah.
so only thing is about what is visible. You had
Hmm.
said saying about your perception of your strengths and what others perceive or want you to be. Now,
Hmm.
sometimes it might be that you might be having a wrong perception about your own strength and what
Hmm.
others see as your strength, which you feel are which are time takers, might be actually your strength. How does one classify that? Which is I am in which zone, which quadrant, basically? What my
That.
perception is and
Hmm.
what others feel about me.
So basically, what you're saying is you may not know that it's your strength, but others see it as
Yeah,
your strength.
right.
So you will get to know about it when you are networking, when you're meeting people through feedback, and when you see certain patterns coming up in your work life that this thing is happening frequently, people are coming to me, say, with more public speaking engagements. That means I am a good speaker, but I don't know. I don't have the confidence, and I don't know. But people are constantly coming to me with such propositions. So then, obviously, then that is a strength, and we can always go back and check with your peers that what is it I've been noticing. You've been, approaching me. So why are you calling me for this, or what do you want me for? So you can check with that and verify it with your peers and seniors.
So, is there a difference between perceived identity and actual identity?
Perceived your own perceived identity.
Right. I want to be, or I
Hmm.
feel I am like this, and what I am. I'm just coming to the point of identity, which you said.
Hmm.
That's where I'm trying to
So we
relate
need
it
to
to.
verify that your perception, what is the evidence that is there that's
Hmm.
supporting that? What is the feedback you're getting from the environment that will support?
Okay.
Satyajit, you have anything to add to this?
No, no, I was just saying the same thing. See, it is perfectly natural for people to assume that I have a certain strength or I have a certain weakness, right? But remember, I told about, pausing and reflecting, right? This is all about that. When you pause and reflect, you also look at your own assessments. If I feel I'm a good public speaker, is there evidence for that? Or if I feel that I'm not good at organizing things, what evidence corroborate this idea? Is there any? So a lot of times we also go through assessments, tests to figure out, right? So there are many different types of tests which we do, right?
Sure.
Disc profiling, there is MBTI, there is so many tests we do. So what I'm trying to urge here is personal brand requires in a lot of maturity as well, right? Where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. We cannot just say that I'm so good at something without really having that strength or idea, right? So yes, sometimes perceived identity and real identity can be different, and that's the danger zone, and
Right.
that's the gap that we need to close when we are doing
Hmm.
personal brand, because personal brand has to be authentic. I cannot fake to be something else. I can only amplify what's the core that's there in me.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so we move from knowing what personal brand is, what elements operate, what limiting beliefs are there, to something more concrete in terms of how do we build that. And what do we build? We build the journey from presence to prominence. I have discussed this in so many conversations earlier, right? And this one happens to be my favorite, from presence to prominence. And I talk about it so many times, right? What do I mean by that? So let's look at an example. Suppose you go into a classroom and then there are 50 students in the classroom. Yeah. You teach that subject. Yeah. Now, what do you think? How many students' names are you going to remember? Maybe five, maybe six. There is a rare possibility that you will remember all 50. But why do you remember those five, six people? For 50 people are present, but only these five, six people are prominent. Why? Because either they have given more answers, they're more engaged, or they're, making their presence felt through their mischievous behavior, whatever the reason, right? These are these 5, 6 people who are able to make their journey from presence to prominence. The rest of them are definitely there. They're definitely present. It doesn't mean that they're not asking questions. It doesn't mean that they're less competent. They've earned their seat into that class. So all of them are deserving. The same thing happens in workplace also. A lot of people think that we are extremely good, we are very good, we are doing this great, we are doing that great, but they don't realize that are they caught in this trap where they're being present but not being prominent enough. And that's the journey that we need to make. Yeah. And how do we make this journey? We do this through the 3 pillars of personal brand. Yeah. How do we do that? The first pillar is called the reputation brand. Now, before I do this, right, let me give you another analogy which I keep on, discussing, right? So let's say tomorrow you decide to sell gold. Yeah. How do you do that? You'll just open a shop, sit there with your gold. Is that going to make you the sale? Absolutely no, because people will not know that you are selling gold. So the first pillar, which is the reputation pillar, is about creating that gold, is being known for what work you do. You're an excellent coach, you're an excellent coder, you're a problem solver, you're a strategic thinker, whatever is that gold. This is the phase or the pillar that helps you create that reputation. Now you have created gold, you are sitting in a shop, your own shop, right? But nobody is buying from you. Why? Because nobody knows that you are there. You exist with that gold. So which is where the second piece comes. How often is your great work, seen? This is the visibility piece. So what you do in the case of a shop, you will put up a board saying Satyajit Jewelers. And then you'll probably do some glass cases where you will showcase your gold designs, right? Translating that into your work, it happens in that context. You have to somewhere showcase that your work is worth gold. How do you do that? Speak up in meetings, presenting ideas, sharing project insights, taking ownership and visible problems. You look at touch points where you can actually showcase your value. Yeah. And if you apply it to various professions that we all come today from, right? So let's say in academic environment, it could be through your research papers, participating in seminars, giving ideas to senior management. All of these constitute your visibility. Yeah. If you are a working professional, it's about, making your point across, speaking with data, speaking with clarity, speaking with conviction, taking on those small ideas and, overcoming your hesitation. All of this together gets you to that place where you can start building your visibility. And then the last piece, which is the third pillar, which is about the differentiation. What makes you different or what makes you distinct? There are so many jewelers in this world, right? There is Satyajit Jewelers, there is Joy Lucas Jewelers, there is so many jewelers, and Dubai is full of anyways golds, right? So how do you differentiate that? What makes you distinct? And that is something which happens over a period of time, right? And how will it happen in case of jewelry shop? The people who come to my shop, how am I treating them? How am I making them sit? How am I offering them coffee, cold drink, whatever it is, right? How am I talking to them? What kind of designs I'm showcasing them? How am I improving their buying journey? All of this makes the jewelry shop very unique and differentiated. And if you translate that to your own careers, right, you will figure out there will be moments, right, where you change that piece from being an exceptional coder to somebody who is known by 100 people and somebody who actually brings together a very different solution every time, is given a problem. So the journey of moving from pillar to pillar, from reputation to visibility to differentiation is actually a very, very thoughtful journey. But what happens in reality? And to be very honest, what happens is most of us get restricted in the reputation pillar. Yeah, we think that we do more work, we do more and more work, we get better and better, automatically pillar 2 and pillar 3 will kick in. But that will not happen. Pillar 2 and pillar 3 will not kick in on its own. We have to make it work, right? And I can give you evidence also. Look at reputation, right? What happens if you open LinkedIn, right? You will see every second person is now putting up a certification. So it's doing more of what it is. Yes, LinkedIn is going to give you visibility. I agree. So there is something which we learn from others and we start doing it. But are we doing it in the right way? Are we creating the right differentiation, or are we just becoming a commodity or a me too in the entire market? These are questions we need to reflect in each of our professions, no matter where we come from, whether we are a working professional in corporate, whether we are a coach, we are a trainer, we are a student just starting our career, we are a academic professor, whatever, be your profession. This journey of being present to being prominent is one of the most important journeys that actually most of us fail to make, and we get restricted to this pillar one. Yeah. Now the question is, this is very good in terms of developing a thinking and an insight and probably a great perspective to have, but how do you really operationalize it, right? This is where I'll give you a three-pronged approach. Okay. And in this three-pronged approach, you will see the three pieces. So first you have to do within the organization. This is where, you volunteer for meaningful work, right? If I go back to the example of Aisha, right? It's not just about delivering her work well. It's also about fitting into the organization's fabric and trying to do different things and being visible. Communicate ideas in meeting. A lot of us actually hesitate doing that. And by the time we think, okay, let me say, somebody else says and your idea is gone. Ideas are there, but what happens because we hesitate, that idea is gone. And when you say again, it loses the impact. Document your insights from project, make something worthwhile. Think of, how can you add value at each step, and build relationships beyond your team. This is very interesting. Actually, one of the participants I was coaching, I asked him point blank. I said, how many people know you in your floor? He said that only 5 people know me who are working in my team. He worked in the finance team. So he said that only the 5 people who work in my team know me. There are 100 people in the floor. Only 5 people knew him. So you have to build relationship beyond your team, which is where strategic networking comes into play. Now, the next piece is within your professional network, right? You maintain relationship with former colleagues, share knowledge and help others, participate in professional discussions. One piece of piece of insight that I want to give you here is, whenever we are talking about the professional network, the idea is always, what do I get in return? What is the benefit I'm going to get? This is the most fundamental flaw in this development thinking within the networking professional, because it stops people looking at others as people. It makes them look at them as opportunities. And it's a very wrong way of looking at people. Networking is not about, getting the next opportunity. It is not. It is a byproduct. Networking is about building the right relationships with the right intent and investing yourself. And without this investment, we always look at, we go into a networking event and we feel that, okay, this guy is like, yeah, you can be of help to me. Let me network. This whole idea of he can be of help to me, if not now, later, let me just network. This idea is very flawed, because this prevents you from genuinely thinking, how do we connect and build a professional network and amplify your value? Yeah. And the last one is, how do you leverage the online? And this is where, most of us are already doing it. We are in online space. Most of us have LinkedIn accounts. But I would urge you to be more than that, rather than just being a fly in the wall, looking at the, posts and not reacting to it. Engage. Like the post you like. Comment on that post if you genuinely have a point of view. And then reflect on industry problems, share your learnings on project, whatever you want to express, use it as a way of expressing. One of the things I would like to say here, it'll just take a minute, and I know we are just running a little slow on time here. When I started my LinkedIn journey, right, I used to write and I used to look at the post every time, how many likes and all that, right? But at some point of time, I realized that this is not going to make me happy, because in 365 days, there will be 1 or 2 posts which will go viral. Everything else is just going to get 30, 40, 20, 15 likes. So I can't be happy because of likes. But yes, I can be happy because I'm writing. So I changed my success metric and I started, measuring how many days I'm writing. And to to tell you something, right? Last year, I had an amazing streak of 345 days out of 365 days writing on LinkedIn. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is we have to leverage this online presence for our benefit, but not with an intent to get something out of it. You have to engage with, your authenticity. Yeah. Now there is another story, quick story, but we are on the top of the hour. So what I can request is people who are pressed for time may drop off, and we can continue with rest who want to continue with it, because it's an interesting discussion. I don't want to leave it alone. Yeah. So this is the story of Jay. He was a leader. He was actually my boss at some point in time. Okay. And he was eyeing an opportunity in the AI space. This I'm talking about 2021-22 timeframe. That was not even when Gen AI was there, or Chat GPTs of the world had not come. So he's eyeing an opportunity of a AI role in the organization. And he came to know that this role is some 6 months, 12 months down the line. Now, instead of just showing up with senior management, telling them that I am interested, he started building his brand around it. He started participating in different webinars, seminars, started writing and summarizing, AI articles, sending it to senior folks, talking about it among his juniors, among his team members, among his peers. And by the time 6 months elapsed, right, people started knowing that Jay was already into AI big time. What he did, nobody knew, frankly. Okay. But everybody knew that Jay is somebody who can tell you something about AI. And sure enough, when the opportunity came, when the department finally was conceived and operationalized at the end of 9 months, Jay was one of the first choices to get into the department. So this is not coincidence. This is manufactured, brand through the journey of 3 pillars. Something that I have seen in my own eyes, happening for me. Did I try the same? Yes, I also tried the same. Did I get the same result? To a very large extent, yes, I did. And this was in the Gen AI space when I was working in one of these companies. Yeah. There's a quick activity.
Satyajit, before that, there's a question related to what you were speaking. Bhavesh is asking, can someone compensate for low visibility with strong differentiation, or does visibility always come first?
It's a very interesting question. See, it's a journey. Okay. Your talent, when you get better at it, right, that's your core. That's something that you can keep working on, keep polishing, keep getting better time and again, year and again. You can get on as deep as you want, right? But the second pillar, which is visibility, is more of distribution issue, right? So for example, if you're a coach or if you're a consultant, you're very good at your work. But if people will not know you that you are good at your work, how are you going to get that connect happening? So which is why visibility is very important. It is not one over the other. It is all three working in perfect alignment. That is what I wanted to emphasize. And yes, reputation will not come all of a sudden. Reputation takes time to build. When you do something again and again, consistently deliver, flawlessly, or whatever, the success metric be, that's when reputation starts get building. So if you see, right, any two element, if you combine and if you miss out on the third, personal brand is not going to happen. It will break. These three ingredients together in the right alignment will work. So let's say, for example, you have great competence, you build a reputation, right? But you don't have distribution. A reputation within the small network that you have. But eventually you will run out of the market, right? There won't be many takers. Somewhere along the line, you will have to have that visibility. So it's very important to understand that these are three aspects. These are three tenets that need to be together, but in alignment. For me, it could be visibility, more competence. Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, reputation, maybe not at this point of time in my career, maybe later on, maybe early on. So, for example, if a student is asking me, reputation for him will take time to build. But competence, he can get started with it. He can be known as the best coder among all his, fresher coders, or best analyst among all his, people, right? So those kinds of things can happen. I don't know if I've answered correctly, but yeah.
I think makes sense.
So should we move to this activity then?
Yeah, let's do that. It's just something will not take too much time here, but these are just questions here for you to reflect on at your own sweet time. You can do that. We'll not spend time over here. But these are the questions you can take back home and think about. What are you currently known for at your workplace? What's your identity? How others perceive you, what you perceive yourself. And what would you like to be known for in 1 to 3 years of time? So is there any difference there? And what are the fears and limiting beliefs that are holding you back? Is there anything that's hampering your growth? What can you change about it? And what strengths do you have which you are not leveraging right now, which can help you to build your personal brand at work? So these are just some questions you can reflect on, and we are always there. You can come back to us if you want to explore it further with either of us.
Right. I think one important point we want to make in the conclusion is like every responsibility, right? Every power, every superpower, there comes a strong sense of responsibility with it. We call it the burden of being seen and known in case of personal brand, right? And what are these? So there are some 5 things that we feel that when you develop your personal brand, you have to carry along with you. Yeah. The first one is the performance depth. What is this performance depth? A performance that means that when you have a personal brand, right, when you have reputation, when you have visibility, when you have credibility, you are known for something, right? Every time people will expect you to deliver on that same reputation, same visibility, same credibility. Yeah. So that's the performance that you carry. So you cannot become sloppy. You cannot say that, okay, you know what, I was good at then, but I'm not going to be good at that. So that's a responsibility you carry with you if you are truly committed to building your personal brand. Then comes the political tightrope. I'm sure a lot of people will now resonate with me. There is a very thin line between blowing your trumpet and building a reputation or building a brand. And that thin line is something that we must tread. We must understand that we are not here to do a projection of who we are. Sorry, we are here to do a projection of who we are, but we are not here to show off. Yeah. So that's the political tightrope that one needs to walk with a personal brand. What else? The incongruency trap. Now, what is this? This is again something similar to performance, but here the idea is if you're known as a problem solver, but then again, at some point of time, you are seen as somebody who is not taking on problems, but shying away from it, then that identity doesn't go with you. And that personal brand that you would have created will crumble. And then we have something called as the loss of anonymity. This one is my favorite, right? When you have a personal brand, you're very visible. People will know you. Okay. So nothing sloppy, nothing crazy. You have to have that whatever comes with you, that halo that you are carrying, you have to carry it with you. And you cannot hide away. If there is a performance mismatch which is happening, you are going to get burnt out of that, right? But when you have anonymity, right, you can hide behind that crowd. You can, get away with some situations. But when you have a very strong personal brand, it's not going to work. How many times Virat Kohli gets criticized for a lack of performance versus any other player who plays well in one match but flops in the other? That's the problem of loss of anonymity. And last but not the least, the expert cage, which is again directly related to the pillar one. The more time we spend in pillar one, the expert cage gets more and more strong. It's called for example, there is a SAP guy, or there is this, supply chain guy. You get stereotyped or you get a specific identity which serves you well. For 15, 16 years, it will serve you well. But after a point of time, it will not elevate or take your leadership presence higher, which is where you need to be aware of that expert cage. Now if you yourself deliberately want to embrace that expert cage, it's fine. But if many people whom I have spoken to are not able to break this cage, and that is why it becomes a challenge, right? So the idea is to show you, right, personal brand is all good, but it also comes with its own responsibilities. And that's what leaders need to think about, right? People starting their careers also need to think about people already in the middle of career, figuring out a new career, whoever it is, right? They have to understand that it's a burden to be carrying when you are seen, known, right? Because it's a responsibility also. On that note, I think that's what we had in this session today. So we have questions. If you have questions, we can take questions. Any questions here? I know we are running a little ahead of time.
And before
But
anyone wants to drop off, I would like to take a quick photo also just after this Q&A round. So please don't drop off till we finish this Q&A round.
Sat, can I ask a question? I'm sorry if it's getting.
yeah.
No, how do you, could you just make little bit differentiation on the performance debt versus the loss of anonymity? Is it something there is a sweet spot of both where it injures that?
Yes. So a performance debt is when you are known and a certain amount of performance is expected from you. So let's take the example of Virat Kohli, right?
Correct.
To be honest, the poor guy, right? Every time he walks in, we expect him to have a strike rate of 200, 200 runs per whatever, right? Whatever is the strike rate metric.
Correct.
Or let's say Sachin Tendulkar or whoever it is, right? Or Yannick Sinner. I'm talking about the top performance, the performance debt. Yeah. The loss of anonymity is more around, the luxury of not being known, the luxury of being able to hide behind a cohort, the luxury of, so for example, students, right? When there are 50 students and the teacher is on a spree to ask questions, right? And he just goes on asking questions. And because the teacher doesn't know your name, you escape. That's called the loss, that's called the anonymity benefit. And loss of anonymity happens because, that student is very known to the teacher now, and he has been giving good answers. So now what happens? The teacher is looking to him because nobody else has answered. Now he is in a spot, kind of a spot.
Got it.
So,
Okay, got it.
So personal brand is great when you build a personal brand, but it also comes with this idea that you are going to be exposed. You are going to take up the expectations. You are going to lose your anonymity. You are going to be known. I think that's very fundamental.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Do we have any questions? Yes,
I would not be able to see the questions. Okay,
Bhavesh
so
is asking. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll help you.
I'm sharing the screen, so I'm not able to see. Yeah, Bhavesh, yes.
I think you can switch off the presentation right now. Like we can take the questions and then move on.
Okay, that will be better. Yes, Bhavesh.
Yes, Satyajit, you talked about these 5 levers here, right? But how do I balance them? Because balancing is the key. How do I balance these 5 in a way that I get the max results from performing these actions?
You mean the debts that I talked about, the burden that I talked about?
Those 5 levers, right? The last slide.
Okay. This is a fantastic question. Okay. And I'll tell you an interesting conversation I had very early on in my career. Okay. I was earning a certain amount of money and I was paying a certain amount of income tax. Okay. And then after a good appraisal, my salary went up by, I think, 40% or something. I had a very good appraisal. Okay. And of course, my gross salary also increased. Then I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and I told him that what's the point of earning more? Now I have to pay more tax. Okay. What I was focusing was on the burden of getting more income. But my friend actually challenged my thinking, and he said that, yes, you are going to pay more tax, but you are also going to get more in hand. So personal brand is just like that. Yes, you will lose your anonymity. Yes, there will be performance debt. Yes, there will be, the cage problem. But the question is, should you compromise your personal brand because there is debt to be carried? Of course, the answer is no. So how do you do it? The question is by becoming more and more focused on the 3 pillars and doing so with authenticity and not claiming things that you don't know. And to be honest, authenticity is one of the key factors that drives personal brand. Somewhere, the understanding of personal brand is fairly distorted. And to be honest, my perception was very distorted as well. So for a very long time, I used to think that social media is my personal brand. No, social media is not my personal brand. Social media is a way to amplify my personal brand. My personal brand is what I'm doing. Am I a good consultant? Am I a good coach? That's my core. Virat Kohli's personality or personal brand is not his Instagram account. It is what he does on the field. social media is going to amplify it. So until you do what you do in a most authentic way, your personal brand alignment is not going to happen and amplify in a way and shape and form that you want. Something will be missing. Either the visibility will be missing or the reputation will be missing, because the bricks that you're going to lay is not going to be fundamental. It's not going to be authentic. Somewhere you would also have this imposter syndrome somewhere, thinking that probably, someday I will be found out. So it will create those noises that you don't like in your personal brand. Yeah. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Satyajit and Sanjukta. Lovely session.
Thank you.
So my question is, because I am someone who works a lot with identity, many a times your personal branding is a byproduct of what you do. I mean, not necessary that you're branding yourself that way, but because of the work, you got branded that way. What I have seen, it is a very, very dangerous zone when people started identify themselves as their personal brand. I'm just giving a very, very simple example. You are an amazing leader, a CEO at office, but you can't act that way at your home. Your identity is not just about your strength, weaknesses, your branding and all that. It is much, much more bigger than that. At the same time, it is not something which is constant. Your identity as someone, as a leader, is different than as a father is a different. I'm just giving an example. So how to avoid that danger of recognizing yourself as what others see it, and not make it as a difference in terms of your roles and responsibility. I think that is something I would love to hear.
So you want me to answer or? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
See, to me, right, I place a lot of importance on the context. Okay. The context of a CEO is very different from the context of a father or a husband, right? So your values, your identity has to map with the context, and accordingly, your behavior needs to be driven. Yeah. So if you try to become the kind of person that you are as a CEO at home, it will not work. Maybe it will work, but most probably it will not work. Yeah. So the point is to understand and contextualize what is, important and relevant for you. Now, once you understand this, right? So context, why I'm saying context is very powerful. I'm slightly digressing from the topic, right? If I ask you, right, what is the most important profession in this world? Probably, many will say it's the doctor's profession because they save lives, right? But if I give you the context, there is riots going on outside, there is people are stealing each other's money. Now tell me who is the most important profession? The answer suddenly changes to the policeman. Right. So context is very important. And for everybody here, right, the personal brand that we want to build, we are talking about building the personal brand from the context. And if the context is, how do we come across in the professional environment, the entire personal branding needs to happen along those lines, but of course with authenticity. That cannot be compromised. So I think contextualizing it is a skill that not everybody has, right? So for example, if I tell you what is your elevator pitch, probably most of us will end up telling who we are, what we do. But will this elevator pitch work if you are in a family relatives meeting and your relative asks, what do you do? So then that context changes, right? So contextualizing is a very important skill, and it has to be done at runtime. It has to be done in real time. And that's something that I would also suggest, people to develop as a leadership skill.
And just to add to that, along with the context, it's also, I would add to it the lens of time. What is relevant today may not be relevant for you maybe 5 years down the line. So with that also, it can change. So that's another way of looking at it.
Absolutely. In fact, my life is an example of that. So for 20 years, I was a corporate leader. And now I have my own agency, I have my coaching business. So what worked for me for 20 years is not going to be the same from here on, right? So context changes with time as well. Time is an important dimension. Yes.
Right.
Any more questions?
Otherwise, we'll go on to switching on our cameras and.
No, I think there is a very interesting question here. Which company gave me 40% hike?
Yeah.
There was. Yeah, very interesting question. Okay, I actually took many points that normally is not discussed in such delicate and personal topic. Yeah, I think I'll tell you which company it is. Maybe offline. Yeah. So that's what it is. Any more questions?
Sat, you can refer to the years which happened. So the context of the time.
And then we go back to LinkedIn and check.
Jokes apart.
Yeah, that's a good marker. That's a good marker. Yes.
Fully understand. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, any more questions? I think this is a very interesting discussion we are having, and lots of good ideas.
Did anyone like? I just want to ask, what is it? I saw Murli taking away a lot of things, but what did you all take away from this? What?
Yeah, that would be
for you. What
interesting
insights did you get? Would be good to know about that. But I see people dropping off also. So before we have more people dropping off, may I request all
Let's
of you
take
to
the
just switch
photo.
on the camera,
Yeah.
and, like, take the photo, and whoever wants to stay back, we can continue our discussions.
Yeah.
Still waiting for
Others
Dinesh,
are-
Anshuman, Shirley, Ian, Ashok, Tolika. If you could just show your lovely faces, we'll just take a quick snap and you can switch back off if you want. All right. So we'll just take a snap here. One more.
Yeah. One more I will also take. So look at the camera and smile, please. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Done.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sanjukta.
So, yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Good day to
Thank
you.
you. Good day, Varatharajan. Thank you for being here. So if anyone would like to stay back and share anything, insights that they took away, or any feedback or what learnings came up, would be happy to hear.
Sashwat has raised
Thank you
his
so
hand.
much, Satyajit and Sanjukta. Thank you very much. It was a very lovely session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here and joining us today.
And yes, I will send an email again with all the contact details, and you can reach out to us with whatever your path you want to take ahead. We ran out of time a little bit, but I can't help. This is such a deep topic, yeah. So it needs that kind of attention. Maybe we could have split it, but then splitting would not have helped, to be honest. Yeah, thank you so much for staying back and
Thank you,
doing it.
Sathi, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bhavesh.
Sashwat, you had something to say?
Yeah.
No, you are on mute.
Oh yeah, sorry. So when we talk about branding, I keep hearing this example of Nike, where
Sashwat, can you be a bit loud? I cannot hear you.
I can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay, is it better now? Is it
better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I keep hearing this example of Nike when we talk about branding, right? Where everything is similar with, say, with Adidas or Reebok or any other shoe company. But then they differentiate on marketing or branding per se, right? That, okay, just do it, or they will talk about some, and there are several other example of brands where, they will talk about, say, women upliftment, or, some other, maybe if it is talk, I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say, that, they will not talk about their shoe or the benefits, right? And then they will talk about something else, right? Which is deeply connecting to people. Is there any parallel when you said that, okay, you have to be authentic about your work? There are so many other people, right, who are probably similar, right, in terms of authenticity or capability of the work. But is it that somebody who is doing a better branding or marketing will take a leverage? That's my question. That okay, do we still need to do some sort of a personal marketing as well to build our own brand and not just be more and more authentic or do more and more hard work, right? Because you know that's probably everybody else is also doing.
I think Satyajit
Yeah.
has answered this before. It has to go hand in hand. I mean, obviously, you have to be authentic. That's the first step.
Yes.
But you have to also work around the branding and visibility part of it.
And to be honest, right, authenticity or being authentic is not inwards. Okay. So let me take the same example of Nike and try to explain this, right? So Nike came up with a campaign called Find Your Greatness. Okay. And this is where they moved from having elite athletes featured in their ad campaigns to having common people, featured in their ads. So now what they did was they showed, common people showing up, trying to do activities they're not able to do. Then, they're doing it better slowly every day, so on and so forth. So in this process, right, the authenticity is about the inspiration. The authenticity is about quality. The authenticity is about consistency. That's the messaging that they're trying to send through. They're not telling you about the shoes. They're connecting you with the values, right? So essentially what Nike was trying to do is it was trying to use a very, very important skill called storytelling to amplify authenticity. So in a very similar sense, right, if I want to again bring it back to working professionals, right, you stand for something. Authenticity in your case, it doesn't mean doing more of that. You will eventually do it, right, which is what you will do in the pillar one. But you need to figure out how you want to project that authenticity in the visibility pillar. So should you hire a marketing agency? Maybe not, because you're a working professional. Should a coach hire a marketing agency? Maybe.
I think your screen got stuck, Satyajit. Or is it for me?
There's some connection.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just wait for him to come back. Yeah, no, you can't hear you now. Can't hear you.
I think I lost the internet for some. So that's what I was saying. I mean, authenticity is going to be the foundational layer on top of which these three pillars have to be raised. Authenticity is not just in the first pillar or the last pillar. Visibility and how you are making yourself visible, being authentic is one of the most important criteria. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, if I run parallel, not only talk about your work, maybe talk about, say, organizations, other deeper problem is that, or even where, other people from other departments can also connect, right? Is that, I mean, just trying to understand what is the parallel for personal branding of this thing, this example that you have given, right?
See, personal branding is a overarching concept. Okay, so you have to build your personal brand with elements, elements like networking, elements like executive presence, elements like storytelling, elements like how do you become more emotionally resilient. These are the building blocks, and when you take these building blocks and push in your authenticity, that's when you start building your personal brand. So this is something I could not cover in the in the discussion, because it was a preliminary kind of we wanted to cover a lot of things, build the entire. So maybe we'll come up with more sessions like this, and then we can take up smaller chunks in more detail. Ideally, 1 hour is not much. It generally usually takes about a couple of hours to really get to something meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Thanks. Sanjukta, thanks.
Anyone else wants to share something before we close? We have 1 minute. No? All right. I think it was fantastic to have all of you here on a Saturday morning. And I must thank Sanjukta and myself also, I'm taking that liberty to thank both of you, both of us to put this together.
Thank you.
And I want to also congratulate both of us for having put this through. So we've been trying to do this for quite some time, 3-4 months, right? We have been toying
Yeah.
with this idea, and we finally were able to converge and we were able to do it. So very important landmark for us. And I hope all of you had a good time, good engagement on a Saturday morning. Yeah,
Would love to
time well
connect with
spent
you
is
all
money.
on LinkedIn also. So please do stay
Absolutely.
in touch. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll send up a follow-up mail with what
Yeah.
could be the next deepening steps, and then we can take it forward from there. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Shirley is there.